I embraced the challenge to find new country, new family. So I was happy. I came to this country.
I still remember the first night there, when all was pitch dark, except for the tugboats and the ferry crossing over on the water, crossing the bay back and forth, and all I could see was the lights of New Jersey across the water, and those little lights on the boats crisscrossing back and forth in the dark.
I was about 7, 8 years old, and we had the opportunity to sign up for the Kearney Public Library. I wasn't allowed to do it. I don't think my parents understood that or what it entailed. And being immigrants, they didn't, I guess, look into it. Maybe like in today's world, if that happened, if a child was asked to join something and the parent really didn't understand it, that parent would contact the teacher and say, well, what is this that my child is going to sign up? Well, in those days, they didn't know to do that. The school was one thing and home was something else. So I was not allowed to do that, and I was not allowed to become a Girl Scout or a Brownie or whatever. You could call it ignorance, but it's not. They weren't ignorant. My parents certainly were not ignorant. They just did not know the culture as well as somebody who was born here and maybe lived here all their lives and were exposed to things. So those were limitations. There was some fear, yes. I don't think they understood what it entailed. Maybe they thought I would be there a long time, out a long time, or it was far. Who knows? But I'm sure it was based on fear. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
I came here when I was 19 years old in 1949. My story is like my husband. He grew up here. My story is different because I came after going to school, leaving my family behind. That is a very hard thing to do, leave your family behind.
I left Aji Costello with my mother, and I was not even 6 years old when I left, because my 6th birthday was on board the ship coming to America. So I only remember a few instances in particular of my life in Aji Costello before that age. At that time, my father was already here in America, and he had been working for the previous 5 years as a longshoreman, working and earning the money, sending so that he could call my mother and me over to join him in America. At that time, that's the only way he could bring over his wife.
When I think about my growing up, actually until even high school, I don't think I even was aware of the fact that I was a child of immigrants.
Of course, I was plunked right in the water of the 1st grade, but I didn't know a word of English, nothing. They didn't have to teach the 1st grade students how to speak Italian to help me, as they would be doing now with the Spanish to teach the incoming students. I was dunked right into the 1st grade. And within a few weeks, I was getting along with the English that I picked up from day to day with my compatriots, with my new buddies. But there was one teacher there, the 1st grade teacher, that helped me a lot. I still remember her name. Her name was Mrs. Wormsley. She was great. She was wonderful. I loved her. I fell in love with her. 6 years old. I took to the classwork. And went on to further studies there. Went to junior high school, and from junior high school, I elected to go to vocational school at the Brooklyn end of the Manhattan Bridge. And occasionally, we would go to, walk from Erie Basin, which was Red Hook, walk to school to the high school at Flatbush Avenue Extension. And it would take that would be a good stretch of the legs, maybe about a mile and a half or 2 miles to go to high school. But we would take the trolley car to help us along most of the way.